We have a young, vibrant lady, Angelique. She's doing all the editing for us. And she made a top list. You guys were at number one on her top payroll podcast list.
Welcome to our podcast, It's About Payroll. We're your hosts, Brian Escobar and Walter William Duncan III. Whether you're new to the payroll game or a seasoned veteran, we have something for you.
Welcome back, folks. This is episode 98. We're going to be talking about global payroll and getting young folks excited about global payroll. How do we do that? We got an awesome guest coming on, Vander, Klis-Busink. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. Vander, Klis-Busink. Yes. Before that, what's up, Walt? How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, sir. It's a good football day. I made myself some from scratch yesterday.
Yes.
So we're going to be doing it up here in a second.
Yes. That's what's up.
How you doing?
That's from scratch. I'm good, man. I'm excited. I got mad that because where we had a couple of weekends with Saturday football, and I wish football was all year round, but so I was like down out. But me and the kids went to a carnival yesterday, and I saw some friends that we haven't seen in a while, so it was cool. Yeah, it was nice. And I'm excited about football today. Excited about this episode. And before we get into it, I'm just going to give you a little payroll news update. And Walt is going to walk us through a few things that he's found, some trends with young people.
Yeah, so today's show, as Brian said or alluded to earlier, it's about global payroll and attracting and finding this new hungry talent, right? So these trends, they may not necessarily be global, but it's trends for young people to watch out for, at least in the US, right? So here we go. But I do feel that this could impact any young person anywhere across the globe, right? Here are some trends to watch out for in 2024 for young employees. Number one, generative artificial intelligence. AI can automate content creation, streamline operations, and provide data-driven insights. AI-powered HR technology can create an environment where employees can connect with their work more meaningfully, which we spoke to earlier. Employee experience is a big thing that companies are looking for. So AI is going to just only enhance that. In that same vein is another one is automation technology. Companies want to have more automation in their processes and how they do things. In 2024, it says that 91% of businesses will use automation to modernize their operations. Wow. Right. So that is going to really help bring in young people and, keep them engaged and stuff.
Yes. Keep them engaged. Yep.
Gig work is another thing though for young employees. So this may counteract people getting into payroll. It says the gig economy is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 17%. So that's still growing. And you find more people like getting into being their own bosses, like calling their own shots and working their own schedule. So people want to do the gig work more so now.
We can make this gig work though. There's a gig work opportunity to make payroll. Some folks got to build it right, but there's an opportunity there.
True. Your favorite, pay transparency.
Pay transparency
has become increasingly important part of HR legislation starting in 2022. The next piece is learning and development. So some predictions for learning and development in 2024 include AI learning, virtual learning, mentorship programs, personalized learning. Again, that personalized customer employee experience into that personalized learning. Focus on soft skills and leadership development, creating a learning culture, and bite-sized content, which I found was interesting because people want that, hey, I'm not going to give you this whole thing, all at once. Here's this little bit, here's that little bit. And I think that because we live in an age where people's attention spans are getting shorter, right? So you need to offer that bite-sized content. And then some other trends for 2024 include shifting EVP. What an EVP, you ask?
Yeah.
Employee value proposition, which is defined as a statement of values, rewards, recognition, support, and company culture that an employer gives to their employee. enabling employee to do their best work and achieve their highest potential. So another trend is new manager necessities. Another trend is crumbling career assumptions. And then another
Okay.
one is AI reshaping work. As we all know, we keep talking about it. AI got mentioned a lot in these trends.
Oh
So
yeah.
you have to think about that. AI is really going to impact
Embrace technology. Yep.
the future of work. It
Yeah.
is going to impact the future of work. And so that's pretty much all I had. Did you want to talk about any of those? Did anything stand out to you from this news
Yeah.
update?
This episode is presented by TimeTrakGO, the simply better employee time clock software that is going to make your life easier. In addition to the unique graphical employee time card that helps you quickly identify and fix mistakes, TimeTrakGO is excited to announce it's now compatible with QuickBooks Desktop, providing effortless data transfer and reduced errors. TimeTrakGO will not only save you time and money each week, but the easy to understand user interface and the ability to turn a tablet into a time clock will get you and your team up and going in just minutes. Find out what a simply better solution can do for your business. To learn more and sign up for your 14-day free trial, go to www.timetrakgo.com. That's www.timetrakgo.com. Or you can call 888-321-9922. That's 888-321-9922. Let's go. For sure. One, gig work. Payroll can be in gig work. But if we're getting young people excited, no, you probably can't jump into a gig work situation for payroll as a first timer. But definitely folks who are already doing payroll, it's temp work, really. And if you do it right, you get yourself and become an independent contractor, get yourself organized and do it right. You can absolutely do payroll gig work. And it just kind of made me think about opportunities. Oh, if that's the case, if it's trending to gig work, then we may need to do some things. Yeah, for real.
But you remember, shout out to Christina and her team over at Valor Payroll, incredible business owner, someone who started out in payroll and ventured out into entrepreneurship. One of the things that she told us when she started her business is that's how she started getting clientele is through the gig work.
That's right. Yep.
Doing that stuff. And that's how
Taking
she
odd
got
jobs,
clients, taking those odd jobs and going through providing solutions for these companies and doing that. And that's how she built her clientele. So you're
Great
right.
call out. Yeah, great call out. And then AI, it embrace technology because Walt and I are definitely researching a lot. And if you, payroll folks, if you're worried, like, oh my God, my job is going to go away. No, not yet. Not yet. We're a long way from that. So I would say invest in yourself. Technology. There is a statement out there that's floating around. The more that your job can be documented and logically broken down, the more chance that it can be taken over by AI.
Yeah.
But so if that's the case, if you're in a situation like that, invest in yourself. So now that means now you need to grow a little bit, whether that be in learning the AI so that when it does get applied to your job, you can make a case for keeping you on for a while because you're a prompt engineer or you're whatever the case may be. I think it's going to take a long time for payroll. It may hit other industries, but I think we covered something like how it's impacting some industries. I think payroll will be a while because folks are not going to want to automate their pay. You know what I mean? They don't want, well, what I mean by that is we may want it. We may not care, but the CFO at a company may not decide, or the HR leader, whoever's making that pay system decision is not going to be like, oh, hey, no, this system runs totally autonomously. You just build it out and then let it run. No. So they're going to want somebody to be in between the company and that system. So that could be. So again, invest in yourself, embrace technology, and these things will impact you a lot less. Yeah, that's all I had to say. But that's good stuff, man. I like that. Yeah, definitely going to help young people get excited and into payroll if the technology is. That's one of the complaints that I've seen is the technology is not there.
Yeah, I think and I don't know if you agree with this, but in my mind, I feel like the world is moving to a place where it's about a level of convenience in the workplace and making it easier and accessible for younger people. Because think about it,
Mhm.
like imagine the generations before us. I know our generation has seen the progression of technology. Think about where we were
Mhm.
kids and we saw internet, that dial-up modem. These
Mhm.
young people don't know anything about the dial-up modems from
Oh,
back in
that's
the
so
day.
funny. Yep. Well,
You know,
yeah,
those
word.
different things and how technology has progressed. And it seems like there's light years versus what it was back in the day. I remember when we were kids when the cell phones came out. You know what I'm saying? Like when cell phones used to
I
be this
couldn't
huge
afford the
thing.
first cell phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like first of all, it was car phones, and then it
Yes.
was that like suitcase that you
Yes.
held, and yeah, and, like it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So like technology has changed, and I think as technology progresses, we're going to have to progress as
We have
employers
to.
and companies to stay relevant. And it's hard to stay relevant in a digitized world when you're not up to, I'm not going to say up to par, but when you haven't caught up to the rest of the world as they're moving, you know?
Yep.
So I don't know.
This is William Tincup, and I'd like to direct you to a wonderful limited series podcast that Ryan and I recorded live at the ERE Recruiting Innovation Summit. We sat down with 20 recruiting and TA leaders from around the world to hear what today's best recruiters are doing to stay sharp, stay relevant, and stay ahead. It's called The Talent Shift. You'll love it. You'll find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Listen, like, review, share. Do you?
It's a good call out. Some again, which I think invest in yourselves, don't and embrace the technology.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, let's get into our guest for the today. We're welcoming Max Vander Klis-Busink, head of service delivery at Payzar. With over 17 years of global payroll experience, our guest leads Payzar's customer success and business development efforts. They are dedicated to delivering payroll excellence and sharing their expertise through their podcast, their webinars, and more. Join them as they explore the world of global payroll and its impact on businesses and individuals. I welcome Max. We have our guest, Max Vander Klis-Busink. But Max, how do you pronounce that? What's the right way to pronounce that?
I think you did wonderful, but it's Max van der Klis-Busink.
There you go.
Yes.
Walter did it better. So Walter you were born in Germany, right, Walt?
Yeah, I was born in Germany. My dad's an army. I was in the army. My dad was in the army, so I'm an army brat. So
Ja.
we were there in Raffenwehr, Germany for 9 years.
Kan het hier een beetje Duits reden? Or,
Say that again.
that was German. I asked if you could speak a
Oh.
little bit of German.
Oh,
But he can
Mhm.
pronounce the things better. He
Yeah,
pronounced
yeah,
your
yeah.
name like perfectly. So sorry about that, but thank you. And so Max, I already gave you a great intro that we prepped and I recorded for you already. You'll hear it in the show. But what we'll jump into now is our most fun question is how you got into payroll. What's your payroll origins?
Yeah. Regrettably so, I'm like most other payroll professionals. I fell into payroll. I hope we can get rid of that term in the not so distant that people
Yes.
actually choose payroll as a career. I remember I started on the 7th of June, 2006 in payroll.
Wow.
Yes, very specific date because I remembered I was a high school or university dropout. Yeah, that's how my payroll career started, by not studying anymore because I found it so boring.
What were you studying?
Commercial economics.
Oh, yeah. That might be tough.
Yeah, and I did a lot of stuff. Legal was part of it, accounting, statistics, and I got all my grades. But I thought, I'm learning all of this, but I have no idea in which context to place it. I haven't truly worked. So I said to myself, I'd rather study and work at the same time because then I can continuously apply what I'm learning in my job. So I started applying for all kinds of jobs and then started as a payroll administrator. So my career, my whole professional career started in payroll. I've not done anything else than payroll.
Wow. I love that story. Walter actually picked payroll.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was in the military. He picked it. So he's one of the few that chose to go into payroll.
Exactly. I
And
heard it in
as
one of the episodes. Yeah, great.
yeah, oh, thank you. And as we've been prepping for this, we're trying to get young people excited about payroll this year, this season,
Yeah.
forever now, because unfortunately, we are an aging group. We are aging out of payroll, and there's not a lot of folks behind the young folks
We are.
in the game kind of to take over for us. So we want to get young people excited about payroll. And before we talk a little bit about that, how do you explain your job? Like, what do you do for Payzar now at your career? Gosh, you're 17 years into payroll, right? And what is it? I'm sure you're not, do you process payroll anymore?
I don't. It's very
Okay.
awkward.
Okay.
I still sometimes wake up in the middle of the night thinking of my payroll calendar.
Me too.
Yes. At Payzar, Payzar is a global payroll management platform for international businesses and payroll. I'm the head of service delivery at Payzar, so I make sure that our customers stay successful. So I engage with them to fully utilize the platform and just make sure overall their payroll experience is great. I also do a lot of business development on the side and a lot of outreach to brands, the profile of Payzar through webinars, our own podcast, the Plug and Pay podcast,
Love
and
that.
just evangelizing payroll. And as a practitioner for the last 70 years, a global payroll manager, but also one who actually processed payroll back in the days, and just helped to innovate the platform with an expert view. So I basically just love working for Payzar because it combines payroll and all of my years of experience, and I can help people who were in roles that I've been in for the past 70 years. So I know their feeling and know their needs, what they need and what they don't need. So I think it's a perfect fit.
That's
Nice.
amazing. Yeah, and I think that's what me and Walt are like, why we have so much fun with this is we're helping other payroll pros. Folks on LinkedIn reach out. Oh my gosh, you guys helped me practice for the CPP, or I listen to you guys every day. And it's so amazing that folks are grabbing onto it because it's needed. Like you said, it's very niche, right? We're in a very niche market, and they need the plug and plays. They need it's about payroll shows out there to help us keep going. Now, let me not freestyle here. We have the questions ready, right, for you.
Oh, bro, I
go
want to
ahead.
talk about his blog as well, because we noticed that you have a blog. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. And thanks for noticing the blog. Yeah, I just had an epiphany moment after New Year's Eve. I was like, I need to do something with all my thoughts about payroll. So why not just start a blog? And I think it's great that people at Payzar support me. They're very agile, support any initiative. And I just felt like there was a need for actual hands-on, non-scripted, non-marketed views about one specific topic about payroll. So I just actually finished one yesterday, and I just don't even edit. I just put my thoughts on paper. I send it to our content specialist for editing if there are no spelling mistakes, but for the rest, it stays the same. So yes, I'm not a native speaker, which is fine, which people can read through the lines, but I just wanted one specific topic. And I did one on GTNs, right? Gross to net reports. Who writes an article about gross to net reports? Nobody, but everybody uses it every single day. If you So that's the idea. Just like you share, knowledge is there to share, not possess. Similar with experience. And I think we need much more of unlocking within our industry, just like you guys are doing, which is fantastic. We just need to evangelize ourselves. Mark, and thanks for noticing.
Man, that got me motivated so much, Max. Oh, man.
For real. Yeah. Absolutely. So let's get into it then. The first question we have for you, and coming as a global payroll expert and 17 years of experience, how can we leverage digital platforms and social media to effectively reach and engage with young talent interested in payroll or global payroll?
It's an excellent question, and it's a very difficult one to answer, right?
Yeah.
Because if I would have the holy grail of how to mobilize the people, the young people to join the payroll, then I would have shared it. But I think my view is that we don't necessarily need to push youngsters into the payroll profession, but we need to make sure that at least it's visible as a profession. I think if I think back of my days in school, I was taught HR. In the end, I did my master in human resource management, right? And there was a part legal. When you do accounting, you learn everything about accounting and law. When you do law, you learn everything about income tax or VAT or corporate income tax,
Yep.
right? You learn everything. If you go to an IT school, you learn everything about technology. So, well, guess what? We touch all of that in payroll. That's why
right.
sometimes I say, with payroll, you don't have to choose
That's right.
because everything is combined in one platform, in one profession called payroll. And how do you reach them? I think nowadays, of course, LinkedIn, I do see a lot of graduates being part of LinkedIn. So we need to make ourselves visible, which we are doing the
Yes.
best we can. And if I think back of my days at Shell, for instance, I also worked at Shell. There was a great program where graduates were hired and they rotated within different functions almost every year. And they went on assignments, but they never worked in payroll.
Oh, wow.
They touched payroll within HR. So then it got me thinking, like, we should probably make payroll part of everyone's profession. If you start in HR, maybe you should actually process a payroll
Yeah.
once or twice. Maybe you
Wow.
should actually manage a payroll. If you're working in finance, maybe you should actually rotate half a year within the payroll function. And I
Absolutely.
think that's how we can maybe make it much more visible. And then, of course, in terms of the platforms, it maybe starts in school, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying. So my daughter, she's 7. I say, you have to become a payroll professional.
Yeah.
So she looks at me like, no,
Oh.
no, Daddy. I said, well, you see me happy at work, right? She said, yeah, you're always happy to work. I said, I work in payroll.
I love it.
That's
I
interesting.
love it. I thought about that for recently for my oldest. She's 20. She's trying to find the right niche, the right job for her. She's doing sales right now. She's excited about it. So I'm happy. I'm not going to divert her. If she goes on, maybe she could go into payroll sales later. I think sales
Yeah.
is the greatest skill to have. And I didn't know that young, right? I wish I knew that young. So yeah, I thought about the same thing. And Walt and I are also thinking of how do we get that first associate's degree program going for payroll, right?
Yeah.
Because it absolutely can be an associate's degree program, a bachelor's and a master's. You know it.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It already exists in the Netherlands, by the way. We have an
Oh,
associate
really?
degree in payroll. Yeah. We
Oh.
also have a managed payroll services, which is at a higher education level that already exists.
really?
But it is not within the universities. It's a separate organization that does it. We also have our own PAO, so to say, in the Netherlands. It also exists in South Africa. The CIPP, of course, in the UK. They actually have an apprenticeship
Yes. I've
that they
seen
keep
that.
going,
Yep.
which is also great. So I think it is starting to evolve to be part of that education cycle and get those certifications in. So I think there is a lot still to do, but there's also a lot already done. And the CPP also we had Jason Davenport, the CEO of CPP, on our own podcast, and he shared his story around the hashtag Be Payroll or hashtag Choose Payroll, which I think is a great initiative because just
Yes.
a different way of looking at it, but choose payroll, right?
Yes.
Just like Walt did. Choose payroll,
Yep.
right? Not roll into payroll. And by the way, if anyone ever rolls into payroll, they will never roll out of payroll.
Nope.
Because they fall in love with payroll.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly.
And what do you guys think in terms of the platform, how to best reach the youngsters?
Like you said, it's a tough question. And I think there's probably, what is that, the new trending phrase, omni-channel approach, right?
Yes.
And we're multi-medium approach type of thing. And get on social media, the podcast. And as we're talking, I'm thinking, oh, we need to target young folks on LinkedIn, send them because we have a business development partner that we work with. And right now we're targeting the obvious, the people with payroll in their title. But like you said, we got a lot of graduates now on LinkedIn. We need to target some young graduates, or would be like if they're on LinkedIn before they graduate, let's target that. So that's what I just thought of now as you said it. What about you, Walt? Any ideas that you've been thinking about?
So for me, I go back to what Max said about engaging with the youth, right? It's not about like selling them on payroll, but it's showing them, hey, you can have a successful, fulfilling career in payroll. Look at us. We started out in payroll and now look at where our careers have transitioned to. That we're Max, for instance, you spoke that you don't really process payroll anymore, but you're still heavily involved in the world of payroll. And that's exciting because payroll is an ever-changing landscape, right? Always changes. There's always something new and exciting coming down the
Yeah.
pipeline. So if we can share that with the new payroll processors, the young people, and say, hey, you can, maybe payroll's not for you, or maybe it is, but you can have an exciting, fulfilling time, and the sky's the limit for you in payroll, right? Because
I think that's great. No,
payroll could
no,
be
you
in
really,
HR, payroll could be in finance, it could be in so many.
Yeah.
exactly. And I think we should probably speak less about payroll to get people in payroll,
Yeah.
because it's not the sexiest term out there. But if you would say, I think we need to do a lot more storytelling to
Yes.
get the payroll picture out there. What if you would say, imagine a post saying, do you like to travel? Do you like to be exposed to different cultures? Do you
Yes.
like working with people, working with numbers?
Yes.
Do
Solving
you
problems.
like
Do you
to
like
help
solving
other people
problems?
out?
Do you like helping?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you like to
I
be the
love it.
reason why people come to work?
Yes.
Right?
Love it.
Do you want to never get bored and have endless career possibilities?
Yeah.
I've not mentioned the word payroll at all, but it ticks all the boxes, right? And then
Yes.
people say, yeah, of course I want that. I said, well,
Come
join the
payroll.
force.
Yes. I love
Wow.
it. I love it.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
man, you really said it. You articulated it so well with we can't force them into pay. We need to make payroll visible to them. That is
Yes.
lovely. And I think 2024 for me is the year of articulation, is just being able to articulate something so that folks understand it. Because I love it when things are given to me. Oh my gosh, I understand that so clearly as Max said it. Man, that's awesome. This is it. We just had some great starter conversations and starting topics for folks to go out. All of us that are evangelizing payroll, like you said, need to be doing that, making it visible to folks.
But when I was only like 3 years in payroll, I started my career at an international secondment agency in the oil and gas and dredging business. I think I was 23, where I joined one of our directors to set up a payroll in the Emirates. And I ended up flying to Dubai and actually being on one of the vessels
Oh
that
my
we had
God.
people stranded on who were building the islands there in Dubai, right? If you would say this without mentioning payroll, and then afterwards payroll got me there, people will be
Yes.
like,
Yes.
okay,
Yes, Max.
That's exactly right.
Yes. That
Yes.
that is exciting. And for a young person, like I could
Yeah.
only imagine how exciting that was for you to be in that position.
oh yeah, I was really nervous. And I had to then actually explain fairly difficult payroll setups to these big dredging guys, right? Big guys. I came there in almost my suit with my calculator, explaining their pay, right? And they just had a question. And vividly remember, one guy said to me, Max, I don't understand anything of it. I just want to look you in the eye when I ask you, is it all correct and compliant? And he looked me in the eye with these staring eyes. And I said, yes. He said, that's all I need to know.
Wow.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
That's awesome.
So that's payroll for you. And
That's
that also
awesome.
made me realize sometimes we go very technical, right? And one of my guilty pleasures was always to answer employee questions. I loved answering employee questions.
Me too.
Because you never know.
Me too.
You never know who's at the other side. You never know their emotions.
Yes.
You never know what's up.
Yes.
And it's all, everything you've done, both privately and professionally, almost comes together with every new question.
Yes.
I always said, let's not email, let's talk to each other.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I love that, Max. Yes.
Let me look you, because I had this experience. Look me in the eye, guy,
Yeah.
on a dredging vessel. I said, let's look each other in the eye. What's up? Why are you angry? Let
I
me
like
help
that.
you.
I love that.
Right?
Yes, that's true. I love the investigation part of it too. And that's what the calls lead to, right? It's like, well,
Yes.
this happened to me in my check, and can you help me? I used to love going down those rabbit holes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I've had folks ask me about pennies in difference in their checks. Pennies. My check was X amount last week and it's pennies different this week. I want to know why. And I would be like, what? Oh my God. But it was fun to go in and I had to compare every earning, every deduction, every tax, every nuance, and to tell them, oh my God. And that's how I learned that tax rates changed in the US at the beginning of every year. You could experience an update in your tax rates. The state level, the local level, the federal, whatever it is, they update their rates at the beginning of every year because payroll, as we know, is calendar year driven. You get your document at the end of the year and it's a calendar year. So that's how I learned that. So I love that, Max. It's such a great conversation.
Brian. And what I've noticed as well is if you do global payroll, in my last job, I think we had around 20 plus countries. So just do this dynamic times 20.
Yep.
Where financial years don't match calendar years. If you process it in the UK, it's not even a clear cut per month. It's the 6th of April until the 5th of April.
Does that mean that is there an equivalent of a W-2 in that scenario?
Yeah, correct.
And it's not a calendar year.
No.
Oh, wow.
I had the UK ran from April to April. I had Singapore, or was it Australia, was July. Right? It was all over the place.
Wow.
So it's not just that it's always calendar year. And then there's different changes. If you process payroll in Italy, they could okay, let's just update the tax rate on the 28th of June retroactively for the last year.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I know there's a lot of complexity within the states and even within counties, but at least it's the same language.
Yeah. Oh,
that's what I always say.
That's a good call out. Thank you for that, Max, because what I've been thinking recently, the way that we explain global is the same as multi-state and it's nuanced the same way, state by state, country by country type of thing, except for the languages. I did not think of that part. That is exactly right. Wow. And we're always learning something new, folks. I get stuck to think about, okay, that's awesome. Now we know that, folks, right? Global payroll is not just calendar year. So wait a minute, and I'm not to divert too far here, but because we love the global payroll piece. Is there an equivalent of filing taxes and that's not on the calendar year?
Correct. And for instance, if I would take my country, actually in the year where I started payroll, the government introduced something new where there is one payroll tax return you do per pay period. And that includes the tax return and the social security return. So it's only one return with one payment per payroll period, which typically in the Netherlands is monthly, by the way. If you would go, for instance, Singapore, it's also a calendar year. However, the income tax is not collected through payroll. Income tax is only collected through self-assessment. We only collect social security through payroll, which is remitted to different funds. In France, for instance, it was fairly recently introduced that they actually started collecting wage tax or income tax through wages, right? But there you can actually influence the tax rate. So there is a submission from the tax authorities to the payroll providers with the effective tax rate that people can actually choose. So there's no tables. There is a personalized tax rate. And by the way, the France payslip is typically 2 pages because that's how many pay elements that are on the payslip.
Oh my
and you
God.
can have 4 or 5 different social security parties who, by the way, have different filing frequencies, who, by the way, have different ceilings, who, by the way, have different percentages.
Wow. That sounds like a lot of fun, Max.
It is. Reconcile it, right? Reconcile to zero. Get the tax accountants out there. Why is this accrual still out there? Well, this is paid quarterly. This is paid in advance. In Belgium, for instance, you pay Social Security a quarter with advances. And then it starts reconciling. So you see these tax accountants processing those GLs saying, this is what I accrue. This is what you pay. There's no match. You have to explain everything again. So welcome to the wonderful, complex world of global payroll that will never bore you out.
Max, do you think that do you think they would standardize across countries? Do you think it'll ever get to that point?
I think no, but there is a lot of harmonization done, for instance, within the European Union on, for instance, coordination.
That's what made me
rules
think about it, the EU, yeah.
Yeah, but there's also a recognition within the EU that culturally, it's just different, right? And it's okay to be different. And it's so also just think about employment, right? If you digitize everything, the biggest employer typically is the government in a country. What if you would standardize everything and 20% of those people would lose jobs? So sometimes it's also just about culturally creating work, or it's just bureaucratic. A country can be bureaucratic because that's the way that they see, and they don't see themselves to be bureaucratic. If we look at their research, geez, that's very bureaucratic, but that's also just the dynamics of how it works. Like in Spain, you need to always register an employee before their start date, like register them, right? Sometimes I worked at a retail company and they pick people off the street, right? You come work in my shop now.
Yeah.
They weren't registered.
What do you mean by register? I'm sorry, Max. What do you mean by register?
Registered for at the Social Security office that they had a new employer, which was a local Social Security office. If you were late, our payroll provider actually had to go physically to the Social Security agency to register them if you were late.
Oh my God.
Per employee?
Yes.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Man, this is great stuff, Max. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
For real.
I'm almost like Celine Dion. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, I see. I can tell because it's like I see the wheels moving. We already talked about the second question we had. Are there specific educational partnerships, mentorships, internships that can be done? You went ahead, you stole the show for us. You got it.
Sorry.
So Max spoke about those things that the different places do. There is an actual associate degree program out there. And now, so the one of the last ones we have for you is, what role does remote work or flexibility may have with attracting young people?
Yeah, I think, Brian, that's a great question. First, flexible working hours. I'm still a young parent, right? My kids are 4 and 7.
Oh, God bless.
So it's a logistical nightmare getting them to places. It's just a nightmare. Nobody told me this was also part of having kids. They need to go here, they need to go there at this time. And it almost feels like sometimes, am I working or, what's the priority?
No, you're an Uber driver.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's almost like that, right? They could see me walking to the gym or school or swimming lessons or whatever, which I love doing. But flexibility, I think overall, is something that people will really do. They won't want to do a Dolly Parton 9 to 5 anymore, right? Go to the office, just like my old dad did. So I think flexibility is amazing. And then remote basically opens up working for any type of company you would want to work for.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes I always say, if you don't work in payroll, you almost are forced into a certain industry. So if you're first studied biochemics, of course you work at a bio company.
Sure.
But if you work in payroll, you can work in any industry you want.
Yes.
Right? Any industry. Therefore, also, if you can work remote, you could basically, from my little home office here, I've worked for an oil and gas company. I've worked for a tech company. I now work for a provider who's a tech company. I worked for a PwC as a consultant, work from home.
Wow.
Remote, you can touch everything with remote, so you can attract talent from anywhere, right? It doesn't matter anymore. So I think it's in general, right? Remote work and flexibility almost goes in hand. You would be hard pressed to motivate youngsters by saying, you need to be in the office 5 days a week and you need to be there 9 to 5. You're like, no, we're not going to do that. So.
Yeah. I love how the young folks, and I love it really good. We were just talking about, me and Walt, how long we've been doing this and what the changes we've seen, pay transparency being a big one in the US and how long we've been doing. Yeah. And the changes, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anything sticking out before we get into this? That you
No,
wanna
man,
ask?
this is great, man. No, like I'm looking forward to seeing how this is when it's edited, man. Max, this has been such an exciting episode.
I just wanted to talk about global payroll now for a little bit. One more question. Before we play a little game before we go, but before that, so I guess if you can say, what do you think is the biggest challenge right now for global payrollers? And is there anything that you see that the future will impact? So any big challenge right now, and is there anything where's the evolution going of global payroll?
Yeah, this is a great question. Global payroll, at least, is here to stay. What people struggling with a lot now is almost the need and the push for automation and to trust automation Whereas I just read the latest magazine of the payroll org, Paytech, and I always love when they interview members, right? It says, as a payroll professional, you always need to check things twice. And then we have this big AI push and this big automation push. And then we have the DNA of the payroll professional who likes to check, recheck, and do everything. So I think regardless if you're doing domestic payroll, but global payroll, I think the role of the payroll professional is changing. And that might be the biggest challenge that we as payroll professionals might face is basically who looks back in the mirror, because the world is changing. So is doing payroll. It's changing, whether you do it in-house, whether you do it outsourced. And that's a more personal view. And I could have given you a whole Payzar story around how we want to do payroll, but I think, which I'm happy to do with anyone, of course, but I think this is a change of the payroll professional, right?
Yeah.
Let me give you, so when I worked in my prior company, I was rotating responsibilities of countries between the team.
Nice.
Right? Okay. Someone was responsible for APAC or Asia Pacific. One was responsible for EMEA. But I said, why don't you guys cross-train each other? They were like, Max, have you gone mad? These are my countries. I know them in and out. I said, do you want to go on leave during Christmas and New Year's Eve? For sure. I said, somebody needs to do the work.
That's right.
So you need to explain to someone else.
That's right.
How it works. And I started that evolution from maybe February, March. And yes, that year, she went out on leave for 2 weeks, didn't touch her laptop at all, because she knew we also know her country. She was still the expert, but we could help. So I think the role of the payroll professional is trusting others, letting go a little bit, and challenge the status quo of how it's always done to how it should be done in 2024 and beyond.
I love that. Yeah. That's a great. Yeah, thank you for that.
Hi, I'm Carmen Hudson. I'm the host of the Recruiting Book Club, and we're starting our second season. I'm so excited to bring to you another set of guests of recruiters who have written books. We are excited to have some very special guests this season. We've got Shally, we've got Craig Fisher, James Ellis, and quite a few other people that we're going to bring on board to tell us about what they wrote, why they wrote it, and maybe we'll veer off into a conversation about recruiting on all types of topics and subjects that happen in our industry. So I hope you can join us. I'm excited.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. Because we talk about on the show all the time how it has to be a plug and play type thing. Play off the Payzar podcast. You have to be able to do that. If you're going leave, you got to be, hey, here's my playbook. This is what I do. You've already trained on it. You'll remember. Let's do a refresher. And you got to be, but folks get scared. Like you said, how dare you? These are my countries. They get scared, but it's not. I learned very early on from a controller that I had as my boss, that is not job security. That is not job security. Like you said, knowledge is to be shared. If not, it's not meaningful. So it's such a great call. I love that you have reaffirmed that for us and for the payrollers out there, right? Don't be afraid to, you got to stretch, invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to stretch and do other things in payroll. It's frustrating. It's scary. But the only way you grow is to keep stretching into other things. You get to do benefits. You get to learn about taxes. You get to learn about finance. You get to learn about HR. Like I have become an HR professional by osmosis, just being in HR. And you learn. I've had great HR leaders that have taught me everything they've known. And it's an amazing opportunity. You can go into operations. You can go into anything. And like you said, it's endless career choices once you're in payroll. Yeah. All right. Let's get into this game, Max. You're such a great host. We'd love to have you back one day. We'd love to get on your podcast as well and keep talking about payroll. Yes, let's do it. And before we let you go, we like to play a fun game. Let me pull up my notes here. And Walt, can I start this one off? And
yeah, go ahead. Start it up.
Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, yep. 8. I'll do the first 4. All right. So it's this or that. You pick one, both, either, neither, doesn't, what it makes you think of.
Right.
All right. First one is coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Biscuits or scones?
None.
Okay. Remote or in office?
Remote.
Okay. What did you mean by this one? Tax setup or payroll integration?
I was at payroll integration.
All right.
I'll pick the next 4. Plane or train?
Train.
Train.
Oh.
Okay. Well, okay. Interesting. All right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Both.
Both.
When do you sleep?
I don't need a lot of sleep, actually. Yeah.
That's funny. Neither do I.
Good. Good. All right. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs.
Dog.
And the last one, Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
iPhone. Okay. Great.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
that's
So,
awesome. That's awesome.
Max, before we let you go, could you give us or the listeners a parting word of advice for younger talent or people who are just getting started in the industry? And then also, could you tell the listeners where they can find you or follow you on social media?
Of course. The advice I would give to young payroll professionals is, first of all, you've chosen the right profession. And second of all, just ask. Never assume, just ask. That's how I learned in my career, by asking others for their advice, for their help, their point of view, or asking them for feedback, which can be scary. I've done something. Can you review? Right? You hand over your baby and accept that they actually have an opinion, right? This goes back to one of my other passions, Stoic philosophy, actually. And it says, if you decide to do something, expect that someone watches you do it and actually has an opinion about it. And that's fine. So get out there. I think that will be my parting piece of advice.
I love
Awesome.
it. Where can we follow you at? Where's your best platform?
Well, you can travel all the way to lovely Dordrecht in the Netherlands and watch me walk the streets. But hey, that might be challenging for people. So I have created a virtual presence too. So you can look me up on LinkedIn. I think it's LinkedIn/passion for payroll. But of course, you can also find me on my name. You can find me on the Payzar website, so www.payzar.com. You can also listen to our podcast, who soon will feature, of course, these two brilliant payroll minds.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
sir.
Plug and Pay as well. And I think that's probably the best way. Visibly, if anyone's going to the PEO Congress in Nashville in May, I'll also be there.
We'll be there.
Although I've chosen, you'll be there too.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes,
We'll
yes.
finally meet in person.
Yes.
So although I've chosen remote, I do love to actually see people
Yes.
as well. So I would love to see everyone there.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's going to be awesome. Yeah. Let's connect. Maybe we could do something cool for that.
Oh, yes, we should.
Yeah. Let's connect. That'll be awesome. Oh my gosh. This has been one of my favorite conversations of all time. No disrespect to all of our amazing guests, but this one is really special. I guess when you don't expect, right? Because I didn't know what to expect. And I was like, he's a great host and I love the show, but because sometimes it's different, right? Sometimes folks don't bring that same energy, and you brought it, Max. I love it. Thank you for being on the show today. Walt, anything close out?
Man, I follow that same sentiment. I share that same sentiment that you did. And Max, you have a wealth of knowledge. You're very, very down to earth, and you're very engaging. And I can tell that you have the passion for payroll.
Yeah,
Definitely see
for
that
real.
in you. So thank you for being on with us. Thank you for sharing your story. And I can't wait to meet you, man.
Likewise. Well, thank you for being you and bringing out the best in me, and for elevating the profession. What you do is really pivotal. My favorite payroll podcast out there.
Thank you.
No disrespect to
Absolutely.
the other podcasts.
No,
Hey,
exactly.
if
No, yeah.
you don't subscribe to this one and ours, of course.
Yeah.
And you're missing. That's right.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Check out Plug and Pay. I love it. Thank you, Max. Have a great one.
Before we sign off, here are a couple quick things. Don't forget to follow It's About Payroll on LinkedIn and It's About Your Paycheck on Facebook and TikTok. Thank you for being a part of our payroll community, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.